Hey friends, welcome. Today I want to share with you a few simple ways that you can make sure that your knees don't get hurt when you're practicing your yoga poses. So ways that we can actually protect our knees. First things first, when you stand up, you want to see that your knees, your hips, and your ankles lined up. So I'm wearing shorts so you can really see my knees. Oftentimes the legs are bent a little bit, or when we go to straighten the legs, we push back the knees and overly extend the knees, and that can be helpful. Other than that, when we go to do our wide-legged poses, for example, we're going to do Trikonasana, triangle pose. So when you turn your right foot out, or your front leg, you want to observe the alignment again of your ankle, of your knee, of your thigh, and your hip. Very, very often, the knee is dropping in. That's because the inner thighs tend to be tight. The hamstrings tend to be tight. So to adjust that, you want to just bend your leg a little bit and you want to roll. This is the inner thigh, this is the outer thigh. You want to, while the leg is bent, you want to rotate out from the big toe side of your foot, roll the thigh out and pull the outer thigh into the hip socket. So you can see by doing that, the middle of my kneecap, the middle of my shin bone, the middle of my ankle, the middle of my thigh bone all line up. That way the kneecap is protected and it's lining up to the bones below and the ones above. So that's one way. And then as you go into your pose, you're going into Trikonasana, you want to keep watching that, okay? You want to see, did I bend my leg? Did it drop in? And if it did, you roll the thigh from inside out and then pull the thigh, kneecap up, lift the thigh so there's less strain on the knee itself, even if it means your hand isn't going all the way down to the floor. Protect your knee joint, okay? So that's one way. Another is when you go to do your bent leg poses, let's say you're doing Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. Again, you want to watch that when you go to bend your leg, you're not just going from your knee. I always tell my student, bend your leg by lengthening from the inner thigh towards the knee. And again, watch where your knee lines up compared to your ankle. Very often it's up here, it's leaning forward. Every once in a while it's back, but most of the time it drops in. See if you can keep the knee tracked so it's not dropping in, and you have to learn to gently open the inner thigh towards the knee. On the back side of that same leg, as you bend your leg and you lengthen the inner thigh, see if you can grip the outer thigh back into the hip socket. So right here, the outer hip is gripping in and holding you in place. The same thing in Virabhadrasana 1, when you go to bend your leg. Again, don't let the knee drop in. You bend your front leg, whether you go to 90 degrees or not. See if you can lengthen the femur directly towards the knee, and then lift your chest up and bring yourself all the way back up. So it's a simple action to mind the alignment of your knee joint to your hips. When it comes to sitting, very often we go down to sit. Again, the groins, the inner thighs tend to be tight. So when we go to sit in cross legs, the knees are up here. Or when you go to sit in Baddha Konasana, again, the knees are up here. And you may be tempted to push down into your knees, which can really bother the knees. Better to take a couple blankets. Most studios come with blankets and blocks these days. It's worth investing in these for home practice. So all you have to do is lift the seat a little higher. And then when you go to cross your legs, your knees are not all the way up here, and your knee and your hip line up. Same thing when you go into Baddha Konasana. Okay, and another wonderful thing that you could do in Baddha Konasana, if you have some blocks or extra blankets, prop your knees. Okay, so this height, wherever you are in your flexibility. Look and see that things are even. Press into your heels and lift your chest. So I hope you found these actions helpful. Please let me know if you have hurt your knees in your yoga practice and in what pose possibly. I would love to address that. Thank you so much, and namaste.